Jaguar radio program.
Raw and uncut, Jiggy Jag, you know how he do it. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it all the way live.
Broadcasting live from Hutchinson, Kansas.
Well, I'm sitting here with a linguist. I had no idea. I didn't know you were, but I didn't know that you were a wordsmith.
Call Jiggy right now. 267-22-JIGGY.
Hey Jiggy, what's happening, man? Reminds me of that David Bowie song. Jiggy play guitar. It's a great name, man. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Presenting
I'm Mike Massey, and you can catch me on Jiggy Jag TV and see a few of my trick shots there. Thank you very much.
Jiggy Jaguar.
I never knew what freedom was until I saw you lose yours.
Yes, indeed. It is this week's edition of Build, Grow, and Enjoy, the BGE Radio Network. Out of Atlanta, GA, you can get a hold of us online at buildgrowandenjoy.com. This week on Build, Grow, and Enjoy, we will be talking to Dr. Barry Taylor. Yes, that Dr. Barry Taylor. We are excited as punch to have him on with us today, and we are going to go to the man behind Love Your Body. The great Dr. Barry Taylor is going to join us here on the old Skip Skype here in just a few seconds. Get a hold of him online at drbarrytaylor.com. That's right, drbarrytaylor.com. And we are going to go to the proprietor and, manager, biggest star in the business of drbarrytaylor.com, the great Dr. Barry Taylor. Doctor, how are you, sir?
Can you see my manager?
I can. He always gets 10%.
Yeah.
That is... that's tremendous. He always gets 10%. I don't know if he likes milk bones. I know that... I know that I have a dog that he just doesn't like milk bones, and I'm like, this is the weirdest thing in the world. So hopefully your manager likes milk bones. But
the milk bones. I used to eat milk bones as a kid. Did you ever eat milk bones?
You know what's funny is I had a guy named Brandon Richter. No one's gonna know that name, but Brandon Richter. And Brandon Richter would eat milk bones. He would eat things that were taken out of the refrigerator that had been licked on by the dog. He didn't care. So I did not personally, but a guy by the name of Brandon Richter did. Dr. Barry Taylor joins us today here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy. And, of course, you want to get more information, you can go over to drbarrytaylor.com. You can get Love Your Body. It is the revised edition, and it is tremendous. And I am so glad to have the good doctor with us today here on our broadcast. He is a trained naturopathic physician and healer. Naturopathic. And I sure hope that all fits on a business card.
Yeah.
He has been involved in this since 1978. Yes, a year before I was born. And he is taught in medical schools, colleges, hospitals. He has continuing education values. He's amazing. And he's with us today here on our big program. And Love Your Body, Your Path to Transformation, Health, and Healing. So this book is incredibly well written. What led you to write this thing?
The possibility and hope that I could reach more people. There's so many books that are written like, here's the truth. My book is not the truth. You know, my book is designed to provoke people to be curious. Doctors are trained and deeply committed to help us when we're sick.
Yes.
But they're not too well trained about health promotion. So I thought writing a book about, here are some ideas you might want to consider that might make you healthy. Here are some ideas that you might want to consider that might allow you to have more peace. We all have struggles. We all suffer from time to time. We all have some pretty big Oh my God, life lessons. So I wrote a book about health and healing, Jim. Without this is the truth. Everyone should do this, and then you will grow hair back on your head. I don't think so. Sorry, couldn't resist.
Hey, you're good. You're good. Bert Bernstein does it to me all the time. So go ahead. But he's bald as well. So, but Dr. Barry Taylor with us today. He joins us live here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy, the BGE Radio Network out of Atlanta, GA. And Love Your Body, the revised edition, is available at drbarrytaylor.com. And you've seen Dr. Barry Taylor all over the damn place. He is busier than a ferret in a jello fight. And he has been the chief consultant to NBC News for integrative medicine for a long time. You know, that's a heck of a deal, my friend. So your book, Love Your Body, you put this together. What is the difference between what you have now and this revised edition?
Yeah, thank you. 7 years later, several thousands of people that I got to speak in front of, several thousand clients who came to call me, Zoom me, talk with me. I realized there were some things I left out, or I'm always learning. Sometimes I think, how did I get any results 2 years ago anyway, given how much I've learned in the last 2 years? So I added 6 new chapters rather than writing a new book. I added some chapters on some other things I've learned
Okay.
that I didn't see were important to include in 2013, 2014 when I wrote the book.
Awesome. It's that simple. It's Dr. Barry Taylor. He's with us today here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy. He is taught at just some amazing places. Spas, corporations, hospitals, medical schools, and academies around the world. I love the fact, Dr. Barry, that you have taught at spas and corporations. I think that is fantastic.
Can I tell you a very short story of what
Yes.
I don't want you to do with me?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to go back to 1981, 82. I've just opened my clinic. I practiced in San Francisco and Portland and Oregon, Boulder. I'm back in Boston. I've gotten close with some really good MDs who are very open to my work and being really collegial and partners. And a man, really wonderful man, now in his mid to late 80s, called me and said, hey, you want to be on TV? Instead of Johnny Carson, 11:30 at night, Friday night, live TV, there's going to be me, and they're looking for somebody who really knows about natural medicine. Would you like to be on TV? And, my ego said, of course.
Yes.
And live TV, Jim, live.
At the speed of light.
Get introduced by this beautiful woman, and she talks to him, this doctor, and says, we're going to be right back from a commercial, and we're going to speak to somebody who's really an expert. Jim, this is 1981, right? This is 39 years ago.
Yes.
I was 6 years old then, right? So now, there wasn't only this MD and me, there was the chief of neurology at Mass General, who his claim to fame was that he had done more lobotomies than any doctor in the United States.
Wow.
So he's the other side, right? So come back from a break, and this beautiful anchor puts a microphone in my face and says, so, doctor, so tell me, what would you do for cancer?
Wow.
So in Massachusetts, in the 1970s, there was a case by Chad Green, some religious parents who didn't treat their child who had leukemia with drugs, and they were jailed for not giving their child traditional medical treatments. So cancer is an extremely hot topic of, so, and by the way, just be careful. So she sticks a microphone in my face and says, live TV, live NBC. So what would you do for cancer, Dr. Taylor? And I go, Well, I certainly would talk to the people about drinking clean water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And and I might actually talk about colonics. and the doctor who had done more lobotomies than any doctor in the country said, "Oh my God, now we have a real quack on the show."
Hey, that's great.
Jim, you're not going to be able to top that, so be nice with me. Ask me good questions.
Oh yes. I just loved the way that this press release is written. I do that with everybody. If I see something interesting, I want to jump on it. But Dr. Barry Taylor with us today. He joins us live. drbarrytaylor.com. He is available over there, and of course, Build, Grow, and Enjoy this week with the great Dr. Barry Taylor. So your book, you've revised it. You've put this out there. Is there anything you regretted that you put in the book to begin with, or that you've regretted ever, when you put it into the revision? Because we always hear about all these things from these writers, and they're like, oh, I wrote this, I wrote that. I never hear these writers, especially medical people, say that they regretted putting anything into these books. Did you run into that, Barry?
Wow. No one has ever asked me that question. Dozens and dozens, a couple of hundred radio interviews. Where did you get that question from? You're great. You're fabulous. You may not know this, but my son is on the front cover. Excuse me, not him, his name. I did not glue him on the front cover of my book. I put his name. He co-wrote my book with me because he's an amazingly talented, just a really wonderful wordsmith.
Yes.
So I have the experience. Luke, was this as good for you as it was for me? No, I don't think so, Dad. Well, it was really great for me to have my son co-wrote a book with me. So there really wasn't any content or anything that I really regret putting in the book. I realized as I spoke about the book, people read the book, the reviews of the book are quite extraordinarily powerful. The chapters are 2 to 3 pages. It's super readable, very, very accessible. I designed it so you could read a chapter in 3, 4, 5 minutes. Great question. There's nothing that I can think about. It's kind of the opposite. Rather than efforting and struggling and getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and forcing some words out, the writing was going back and forth with my son, and then just seeing how that evolved. And then 7 years later, 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years later, Luke, I've got chapters that are bursting to come out of me. Would you consider helping me? Dad, I did it once. You paid me well. I don't want to do it again. You're on your own. And so I was timid because I'm more of a speaker than a writer. And Luke's got this style, which is, as you read the book, he's a very gifted, kind of really brings you into the world using words that are very descriptive. And so I had the challenge exactly a year ago. Could I write my 6 new chapters as this stuff was bursting through me, that it all would match his? And I got an editor to help me so it wasn't like 2 entirely different voices.
Yes.
That's my response. I'm very, very gifted. And it took a number of years for me to actually sit down after asking Luke dozens and dozens of time and waiting for his no to change to a yes. And then finally giving up and saying, this child's not going to move his no to yes. There's no amount that I can offer him that he's going to help me write the new chapters. So I wrote them myself, got them edited, and it's a real blessing. All the profits of the book are donated to a nonprofit in California that I love to support.
Awesome.
I don't take any of the profits of the book for myself. Thank you. I don't regret anything. I don't regret a thing.
Awesome. Awesome. It is Dr. Barry Taylor. He's with us today here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy. You can get more information on Build, Grow, and Enjoy at buildgrowandenjoy.com. And Dr. Barry Taylor joins us today here on our big program. drbarrytaylor.com is his official website. And Love Your Body is the latest from Dr. Barry. So, why did you come up with this title? Because there are so many things that you could have named this book.
Yeah.
Why Love Your Body, my friend?
Somehow I got this thought that I don't just have a thought. You don't have a thought. We have a body of thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't just have feelings here and there. I actually have a whole body of feelings. and without going into past lives or chakras, because neither of those are my thing. I made up that there's a whole universe of what it means to be a spiritual being that I have more questions than answers to. But I recognized that going through medical school and barely getting through anatomy and physiology and biochemistry, and oh my God, talk about universes of complexity, the amount of different cells. It's talk about, the complexity of stars and planets. It's like, oh my God, so I realized that we are more than our physical body, even though we really identify. Who are you? Pinch me. I'll tell you who I am. I'm no pain, or I'm in a lot of pain. So I came up with this, I don't know if it was a dream. I don't mean that kidding aroundingly, or I don't know where it came from. I know I was wanting to encompass something that was holistic. And so Love Your Body for me is a code. It's not just love your knee and your elbow and your nose and your breasts and your liver. And where is my liver? Is it in my throat? Is it my right side? Where the hell is the liver anyway?
My liver. That's right.
And not knowing the biochemistry like I do as a doc, but really embracing this is what it is to be human. We are a spiritual, mental, emotional, physical being. And, what does it really mean? Not like my book is, this is what it means to love. But, let's talk about a number of conversations. What does it mean to really love your body? Is it just respecting your body? Does it mean you got to exercise more? Or can you love your body and not exercise at all? Of course you can. Do I have to drink 4 or 5 glasses of water a day? Is that what you want? Will that prove to you that I love my body? I don't know. You're 80% water. If you're pre-dehydrated like most people, maybe that's why you're going to dry up and shrivel like a prune when you're 50 or 60. I don't know. I don't know.
Great.
So I'm more in the question, Jim, since 1970-ish. What is it to love your body?
It's great.
Really, how so many times I was speaking to a really wonderful, gifted woman, a doctor. I won't say any further. I don't want to identify her. And her kids weren't agreeing with some things that I brought my kids up to think this way, and now they're not thinking this way. Yeah. And she was so making herself wrong. And I said to her, you are fiercely independent. Maybe they're just thinking the way they are like you, but they're not agreeing with you, content, but they're thinking on their own. It just doesn't have to be what you're thinking. So, what I'm attempting to do is give people not just information, but what I call abstractions, what I call distinctions to think about, rather than this is true, nobody should drink coffee, everyone should get off dairy. No, meat's good for everybody. Meat's not good for anybody. So yes, there are things to talk about. There are tons of books that are written like, here are the 10 rules, and if you do this, you'll be able to levitate. You won't have to drive home. I'm writing a book that's oriented for people to. Some people are quite extraordinary, Jim, at being judgmental, and their inner critic, that volume is turned way up. Well, I got that from my mother. My mother was really judgmental, and so what do you expect? I'm really judgmental. Well, everybody's got that, little small negative voice, sometimes not so small. So I'm writing about things in the second half. The first half of my book is more about health. The second half of my book is about trust and forgiveness and compassion and emotions. Stop asking your children, why do you feel that? If you want your kids to go into therapy pretty early, ask them to explain why they're feeling what they're feeling.
That's awesome.
Feelings,
That's great.
Feelings are not rational. Feelings are emotions. Would you like to come over here and hug while you cry, or would you like to go in your room and do that? Would you just? I'll be silent. In other words, one of the things that's very unique about being human is the ability to experience. Emotions are meant to be experienced.
Yes.
They're not necessarily meant to be understood. But when you and I, particularly as men, are wired up like, well, I'll be more respected if I can explain and have people understand things. Yeah, well, guess what? There are a lot of paradoxes. There are a lot of mysteries in life you're not going to explain to yourself or anyone. So I wrote this book, which is about acceptance and about tickling yourself, allowing me to tickle you with a lot of thoughts, rather than these are the truths. And if you'd like to have better ownership of your physical body, and consider that your body is a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, then maybe you shouldn't run it as if you're a Kia. No offense to a Kia, right? No offense to a Ford Fusion. Maybe you need to know something about your body. That doesn't mean you need to know what I know. Doesn't mean you have to know what a spleen does. But there are certain things that we all eat by sensual taste, have no clue about vitamins or minerals. And then when we do find out about minerals, you can be sure that a lot of people are talking to you as if it's a new religion. Everybody hears the word should do this, and nobody should do that. So I'm going all around our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, to have different chapters and different writing exercises and different case studies to have people think about what would optimal health look like for them, what would having more peace, more access to creativity. Not, you should, read this book and you'll never be afraid. Read this book and you won't be anxious. All your worries about COVID will go away. I don't think so. But what if you and I had friends and we were the kind of people, being careful not to take over cocktail parties and pontificate when you're not asked, but what if we knew how to access courage or trust in the face of fear? Can you hear the paradox, Jim?
Very much so, doctor.
You could be afraid and have no clue how to access more courage, or you could have some underlying anxiety, all the uncertainties, all the unknowns about COVID universe, and have some skills that you've learned as a human being of how do you develop what I'm going to just label as courage. So there are things like that in the book.
Dr. Barry Taylor with us today. Love Your Body is the latest from Dr. Barry Taylor. check out drbarrytaylor.com. And the good doctor joins us this week here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy, the BGE Radio Network out of Atlanta, GA. So, some of the things that you sell over at drbarrytaylor.com, you have got all sorts of different services. Do those work with the book, or is the book a complement to those services?
The latter. Most people who want my individual services for me to evaluate their supplements, and I can do that at a distance. People don't have to come into my office. Read my book so they understand the context. I have a 21-day Love Your Body program. About 18,000 people have done that since 1981. You don't have to, and most people will read my book as they go through that 21-day experience. That's one night a week over Zoom. So I think you hit it on the head. The book is a complement, so people, so I can more effectively and more easily educate people.
That's tremendous. That is tremendous. Dr. Barry Taylor with us today. Now, have you been able to do a lot of Zoom and Skype consultations and things, or how is that side of your business been affected or not been affected?
I gave up the Dixie cup and the thread. I stopped using Morse code.
The carrier pigeon.
The carrier pigeon. Oh, God bless the carrier pigeon, is just flying around my backyard, dropping poop all over the place, and I don't know what a phone is anymore. I mean, so yeah, I'm on Zoom all the time.
So how does those consultations work from an online perspective? Because that is always something that's always fascinated me through this whole process, is that there's all this telehealth that people are doing.
So I was doing that for years before COVID. I have forms. Some of them are short forms. Some of them are longer forms. They're going to take 15, 20, 30 minutes to fill out.
Yeah.
People email me the forms. If they don't have email, somehow I have to print them out and send them in snail mail, and then they send them back. And so then I have like a doctor's form. So I have some sense of their allergies and their surgeries and their medication, and they keep a food journal and what time they eat and what time they don't eat, what they do, don't drink. And then I can do a review of systems similar to what a doctor nurse might ask. But when a doctor nurse asks, if they ask the kinds of questions that I ask, they go through my internal computer. When somebody says to me, well, I wake up tired and I'm no good unless I have 2 cups of coffee, or I go to the bathroom every other day, or I go to the bathroom every day, but boy, I got a lot of bloating, gas, and I'm burping all the time. So people's answers to me mean different things to me than they mean to a really good MD and a really talented nurse. So I'm listening to the conversations that I have, even if you didn't have that big, it is a big microphone.
Yes.
That's either a big microphone, Jim, or you got the biggest mask that I've ever seen in my life.
I probably have the biggest pop filter you've ever seen in your life.
It goes from your nose to the top of your breasts. I mean, this. I wish we could send this out, and so people could see the bottom of your microphone.
Oh, the people that'll watch this video on Rumble and on YouTube later will be able to see this, because we're gonna take a shot of this thing, Doctor.
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, I know we don't want the listeners to know about the chin and lower facial surgery that you've had.
That's right.
No one's going to know about it because of this microphone.
You're fantastic.
Anyway, so I go over a review of systems, and then people give me goals. I've done this for 45 years, so I want to know 2, 3, 4 months from now, what's your dream come true? If you knew how to eat a little bit better and to eat a little less of this and a lot more of that, and you knew what vitamins or minerals or herbs to take, a little bit here and a little there, doesn't mean you can take those vitamins and minerals for the next 6 to 10 years. But in the next 2, 3, 4, 6 months, is it you want to wake up with more energy? Do you want your skin to be smoother? Do you want to lose weight? No, I don't think you want to lose weight. I think you want to know how to sustain the weight. So people don't even sometimes know how to give me the goal that is really their heart's desire. What I just said is, how many people have a goal to lose 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 pounds? They lose it and they forgot to ask, by the way, what do I need to learn to keep this off so it doesn't come back? You know, the goal of sustaining weight loss is different than the goal to get it off. So I am meticulously asking people to let me be accountable for what is it that you want in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 months, some short period of time. Let's not give this 2, 3, 4 years. Well, I've got cancer and I'm going to be doing chemo and radiation. Is there something you can help guide my body to minimize the effects of that? Or I've been taking an antidepressant and I've thought of going off it, but I don't want to just go off it and take nothing. So there are a lot, and by the way, Jim, tons of people don't have any clue how to even speak about their goals. But you're asking thank you so much, great question. I have a system where it starts with filling out some paperwork. We have a conversation, a different one than you and I are having now.
Yes.
Then they send me some hair. Head hair, pubic hair, some kind of hair. And I have a $30,000 computer. And I evaluate, I do about $3,000 worth of tests for a few $100s. And
Okay.
I test things for what most people have never gotten evaluated. Do you know how much lead you have in your body? Do you know if you have any mercury from tuna fish or swordfish? Do you know if you have any excess aluminum from pots and pans or underarm deodorants? Do you know if you have enough enzymes in your gut to absorb? So I do a lot of testing. It's kind of like a person calls me and they say, I want you to help me with my arthritis. What does that mean? Oh, you mean you really want me to help you be more flexible? You don't want me to help you with your arthritis. The goal is flexibility, not help you with arthritis. You need to be specific what you're asking the universe to gift you. So if you're interested, let's look a little bit at food and herbs. And it's like a 500 puzzle piece, Jim, or face down. And I'm going to work with you to turn the pieces up and then see what fits together. And the last thing I'll say is I could work with 50 people who have, hip arthritis or osteoarthritis in their back or migraines or colitis. Pick any topic you want. Yep. And that doesn't mean that they're all going to get the same recommendations. That's allopathic thinking, as if, well, I got it. Ovarian herbs are different than lung herbs, and digestive herbs and things are different. But that doesn't mean that everybody gets the same thing, because I don't treat the colitis or the migraine. I'm functionally evaluating people's strengths and weaknesses. How do you strengthen your strengths, and how do you strengthen your weaknesses? That's different than what do I take for my... Now, of course, what do I take for my migraine? You want to take some of this, but this is just a Band-Aid. If your migraine is not from a deficiency of furanol, then it's certainly not from a deficiency of whatever herb I can give you.
Yes.
That's just like a plumber fixing a leak. I want to look at, here are the 6 different things that I know can cause migraines. Did you have a concussion? Do you have a curve in your neck? Do you have an allergy? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So whatever somebody's asking me, I'm trying to get underneath what's driving it.
That's tremendous. Well, doctor, I know that your time is short. Before we let you go, how do we get your book, get involved with what you're doing, everything?
Well, I have a mailing list that I send out blogs and articles for free. I got good people like you, thank you so much, who, get me on YouTube, or I have a lot of different radio shows on my website of interviews on very, very specific subjects. Yep. So my website is drbarrytaylor.com. That's just DR, not DOCTOR, just DR, my name, barrytaylor.com. And there's a button there to buy the book, and it says right there, all profits from the book go to pachamama.org. That's a link you can look at so you know where your money's going for the book. Other than the cost of the books, not much. Other than I paid my son a lot of money. Let me tell you, I paid him.
Yes.
That was very good. So people can order my book. people can find out where I'm talking when I'm traveling, or I do, different kind of Zoom courses that are free or that cost a little bit of money. If anybody wanted to become a client, there's all sorts of information on my website about being a client. That's where it's at, buddy.
That's where it is. Well, Dr. Barry Taylor, I appreciate you making time for us today here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy. This has definitely been a fantastic conversation, as always, with you, my friend, and I look forward to the next one.
I love your name. Build, Grow,
and Enjoy.
Yeah, good. And I get to see what you don't see. On the back of this unbelievably large microphone is your name.
Yes.
Somebody put this white little, looks like a bar of soap.
It's they call them mic flags is the technical term.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know when the last person said that your mic flag is hot. But I just want to underline for all the viewers that you got Jiggy's name in gold sparkle.
Yes.
That looks like a bar of soap, but it's not, because he just told us what it is. It's not a bar of soap.
I always love this.
And this guy is great. So thank you for having me on. Thanks for allowing some of your listeners to find out about me.
Yes. You are fantastic. We definitely have to do this again. Doctor, I appreciate you making time. Make sure that your manager there gets the 15%.
Yeah.
And
the first 10 or 15 minutes, she's like biting my left hand. I'm trying to keep straight on the computer. Finally down and out.
Well, Doctor, I appreciate it, my friend, and I will talk to you soon. Appreciate it, sir.
Blessings. Be safe, please.
Thank you, my friend. There he goes, Dr. Barry Taylor. Mr. Dr. Barry Taylor, as they say. Heavy on the mister. And we are going to see you next week here on Build, Grow, and Enjoy. Check out BG.